Okay. Global Partners is up next. I'll be recusing myself. Mr. Bellinger will be taking over.
Before Rob starts, good evening and welcome everyone. My name is Kim Keel. I am the local representative for Global LP. I live in Clobberg. I've been a resident for 28 years, and I'm very happy to introduce All Town Fresh to this evening. We're a third-generation family-run business. We have served the Livingston community since 1990 as a convenience store gas station. So, I'm going to introduce Rob.
Great, thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Rob Osterhout with Bowler Engineering. We've been in front of the planning board on several occasions now to present the plans for this project. Starting back in December with a very conceptual site plan and then progressing through more detailed plans. It's been a couple of months now since we've been at the planning board, and the reason for that little hiatus is that at the previous planning board meeting that we did attend, there was a lot of public feedback, a lot of planning board feedback, a lot of feedback from the town's planning board's consultant engineer. So in order to address all of that feedback, it took us quite a while to perform additional studies, to accumulate additional data, run soils investigations on the site. So we've done a lot of additional work to address comments that the public and the process has presented to us. So with that, we submitted a wealth of information, a very large packet to the town to support the application and to provide the additional information that was requested of us. That information is summarized within the cover letter that we submitted, and I'll just run through that to help clarify the items that we did submit. So from a plan perspective, we revised our site plan set, which consists of 20 sheets of plans. Everything from a site plan through grading and utilities, soil erosion sediment control, lighting, landscaping, construction details, truck turning movements. So a very detailed set of plans. We submitted a copy of the boundary and topo survey that was prepared for the project site. We submitted highway work permit plans that were prepared by our traffic consultant, and those are related to the DOT permits that are required for the project. We also submitted, as I mentioned, lighting plans by a lighting consultant. We submitted building elevations and signage details. We submitted a stormwater pollution prevention plan in accordance with New York State DEC requirements. We also submitted some correspondence from New York State DEC, an engineer's report, a traffic study completed by our traffic consultant, a wetlands assessment report, and a threatened and endangered species report. And in addition to that, we also submitted the full environmental assessment form that the board had requested from the applicant. So a lot of information was prepared and submitted. The plans are substantially the same from a layout perspective. I'll walk through the site plan, and just to orient everybody, I've got an aerial exhibit here. We're on the north side of the intersection of Route 9 and 9H. If there's anybody here that is not familiar with the project already, what we're proposing to do as part of this project is Global Partners owns the existing Extra Mart facility and diner located on the opposite side of the intersection. Global Partners is proposing to build a brand new facility on the north side of the intersection. That new facility would replace the Extra Mart in its current location, so that building would be vacated, a new premise would be built with new fueling positions, with both gasoline and diesel fueling, much like is on the site today. So from an aerial perspective, I've got a plan here that shows the existing conditions. From a site plan perspective, we've got an updated site plan. I'll turn this a little bit here so that hopefully everybody can see. This plan remains substantially the same as it was in the previous submission. One of the changes that we made in response to New York State DOT comments was we had a full access drive right here. We've now changed that to a right-in, right-out driveway in an effort to address some of the DOT comments that we received. Related to New York State DOT and the traffic side of this project, I mentioned the traffic report that we submitted. The traffic findings came back very positive results. All levels of service will be maintained at a level of service B or better. Levels of service from a traffic perspective are rated from A to F, with A being the best, F being the worst. We're at a level of service B, and with this proposed project, when we compare it to a no-build scenario, there's a very, very minor change in the traffic, and it's under a second difference in delay as a result of this project. Some of you may be asking why it's only that minimal amount, but really, if you think about it, we're taking the existing gas station, convenience store, and relocating that to the other side of the road. So all of that traffic that's on the road, it's being moved from one side to the other. We're not creating a lot of traffic for this use. From a layout perspective, things have stayed pretty much the same as they were previously. We've tweaked the plans to address comments that we received. A lot of those from a technical perspective were from the town's consultant engineer from Crawford. So we've addressed those and submitted a response to comments with those revised plans. We provided the truck turning plans that were asked of us, and that hopefully helps to clarify a lot of those issues. As far as some of the other items that we submitted, the full environmental assessment form was a big request of the board. Not a big request for us to achieve because we've provided a lot of information to support that anyway, so we hope that that's helpful and useful information for the board as you continue your review of the project. The wetlands report that was submitted by Ecological Solutions documents that there's no wetlands on this project site. There are wetlands nearby, across the street and further to the north, but there are no wetlands that are on this project site. This project site is, I should have mentioned just at the beginning here, we're a little over 3 acres on this project site, and it incorporates a couple of parcels. So we've got a merger of a couple of parcels and a lot line adjustment on the third parcel, which brings our project limits to this point here and then down to the intersection. We also had our ecological consultant review the site for threatened endangered species. That report was included in the submission, and the only potential habitat in the area here was the bald eagle. Then the ecological consultant coordinated with New York State DEC in that regard, found that there's potential habitat on the opposite side of Bell's Pond, quite a bit of distance away from the site, and that report's included to help document and clarify that there are no impacts from the project to that habitat or to anything on our project site. Since we've started this process, we got some feedback early on relative to the layout of the site, and what I wanted to do is just kind of go back to some of the early stages here, because I think there's some misconceptions out in the public about what this project is. So this project is intended to be a neighborhood market with gasoline service. There will be food and beverage served within the facility. It's a new concept in the industry. All Town Fresh, as the name implies, offers a lot of fresh foods. There will be food made at your order. So you can go in, you can order everything from quinoa bowls to rice bowls and freshly made salads. There's a variety of food offerings. If you want to get a bag of Doritos and a Coke, you can do that too. But this is new in the industry, having a lot of fresh options that are quick and convenient at the same time. So, so there will be a variety of offerings here, and a lot of opportunities. You know, that you can get something on the run that you can't get in most markets today. So this is unique. It's a novel idea, and I think it's going to be an industry changer, to be honest with you. That's my personal opinion. One of the things we heard when we first came in to present this concept was that with the existing site, with the existing Extra Mart and Diner site, and I've observed this myself, and I'm sure many of you have, dump trucks, larger trucks will park on the side of the road and then occupy or take up space alongside the road, run across the road, go in, get a bite to eat, go to the bathroom, get something to take on the road, whatever. So we heard early on that that's a concern. That's a safety concern, having trucks parked along the highway and having pedestrians run across the road. So we were asked to modify our site plan to include some truck parking. So we've done that. That's incorporated into the plan. And those trucks can be anything from pickup trucks with utility trailers, landscape trailers, things like that, through dump trucks or through larger trucks. But we've got room on this site to accommodate those vehicles. We've got our passenger car fueling area out front, and then we've got diesel fueling off the backside here. Diesel fueling is intended for not only those trucks, whether it's the pickup trucks with the utility trailers, or RVs, or dump trucks, or larger trucks. What we're intending to do is have the truck circulation in a counterclockwise fashion through the site. So this is one-way circulation for the trucks. They could enter the site here, circulate through the fueling position. They can park along here or here if they'd like, and then they can exit the site here, or they could circulate back through and exit the site over here. This driveway that I mentioned, that's right in, right out, is limited to passenger vehicles. So it's signed accordingly, so that trucks will not be using that egress drive. That's a recent change that we made as well. So with that, we've submitted a ton of information. I hope it's been helpful for the board to run through that information, to digest it. The misconception that I noted here that was I think floating out there is that this is a truck stop. So along the lines of the truck parking and the truck fueling that I just mentioned, I just want to clarify that this is not a truck stop. This is merely a neighborhood market with gasoline service, with fuel service, both gasoline and diesel. We've added some truck parking to the site plan for the planning board's request to address a safety concern. But there will not be any overnight parking of trucks here. Idling will be limited in accordance with state law. This is not intended to be a truck stop. Personally, I worked on the Love's Travel Center project in Canaan, New York, and that is a travel center. That is intended for trucks, a large number of trucks. This is nowhere near the scale of a travel center or a truck stop. So hopefully that clarifies that misconception that may be floating out there. Let's see. From a stormwater perspective, I did want to touch